For this week's EdTalk recording, I found this really cool quote online by this guy named Paulo Freire. And it says, "Education as an exercise of domination stimulates the credulity of students, with the ideological intent, often not perceived by educators, of indoctrinating them to adapt to the world of oppression." And I thought this was really relevant to a lot of our readings this week because it pretty much says that as teachers or as educators, we are oppressing our students by displaying this adult first kind of mentality and making them think that education is always dominated by adults and that they are the ones who make us learn and that they are really in charge of what learning is and that it doesn't have to do anything with students. And it's most of the time educators aren't even realizing what they're doing, and they are like the quote says, indoctrinating students to adapt to a world of oppression. And I thought that was really kind of relevant with across all three of our texts. One, because in teaching the taboo, it kind of talks about the ban, the suppress, and the gags, and um, you know how too often ban truth telling and fully passionate side of life from our different perspectives of our students, and how the perspective of our students isn't the same as ours. What they experience is completely different to what we experience, and that even goes on when they talk about the journalism of the kids when they were doing the report, and I think the second chapter of that text, and how you just never know. You never know what a kid is thinking or what they really have the possibility of doing. Reflecting on my own experiences in this past year as a teacher, um, you know, especially as a younger teacher, it's kind of interesting to see the way that when you really give students this power and this empowerment of feeling that they are also in charge of their education, and that they have a choice in what they want to do, and they can really shape how their education goes. It's really cool how you can see kids kind of buy into it and want to experience that as well. So as teachers, we kind of just need to remember what our important role in these kids' lives, what we're there to do, how we're there to help them. And I think that ties in with our other text, "What Should I Do?" As we're talking about what kind of assessments, or how can we learn how do we know what our students are learning? And it's true that we have the power to determine how we think that how we have the power to assess how our students learn and how we can identify what they are learning. And you know what? In some cases, it's not always going to be test and paper and getting them to do it the normal way. We have to be able to assess our kids in a variety of ways, where we're going out and we're maybe going above and beyond what we're required to do. I know the text does say that it's pretty impossible. They quote unquote say to do this, but as a teacher, that's just that's kind of our job. We have to go out there and we have to see, okay, can I help this student assess in any other way so that they're really learning the knowledge or the content, that they're really understanding it. And the last thing that ultimately ties in with how teachers kind of have this power, and how we can kind of not only shift that power to having students feel like they have power too, and to get them to be vocal and passionate about their schooling. As teachers, we just need to be more engaging with our students, and that alone will affect their learning and how they're engaged in class, how you manage your class. Because if you're far more engaging and you have students' attentions with what's going on, they're not going to want to misbehave. They're going to want to actually be into the lesson and following along. So just overall, as teachers, we need to make sure that while we're leading and while we're in charge of facilitating our classrooms, essentially we really do have a lot of the power. We can't use that power to suppress what our students want to learn, and suppress their individual voices or their perspectives, or even suppress them from being active participants in the classroom, maybe by putting on a boring presentation, or by doing something that if you were a student, you would enjoy. So trying to transfer a little bit of that power that we have to making our students feel that they have the power not only to engage and participate in their classroom, but that their knowledge and that their point of view and that their perspectives really matter.